My name is Randy Frederick, and without Good Sam, I would probably be in prison or dead by now. I'm 40 years old. I grew up in Boyertown, Pennsylvania, which is not too far from here. I grew up in what they would call a broken home. I had a mother who was an alcoholic, and my father left around 5 years old. Grew up in a household, just a lot of violence, a lot of drugs, alcohol. It caused a lot of loneliness, as a child. So of course, going to school, things like that, I always felt like an outcast. I always felt lonely. I never felt like I fit in. Also, we were poor, right? So when you're poor, you go to school, you get picked on, you get made fun of. So it really hardened my heart. It caused me to just kind of isolate. So I always wanted to be by myself, things like that. So when I got a hold of drugs and alcohol, it became my best friend. Around 16, I dropped out and I got a job, working for a stonemason. And the drugs and alcohol by this point had pretty much taken over my life. And by 17, I was incarcerated. And it did open my eyes to a lot of things, and it helped me mature. But I left there when I turned 18. I ended up getting an apartment. I had this apartment for a few years, but it was basically a party house. Then at 23 years old, I was arrested, and that's when I went away for about 2 years. That was a whole different experience. By that time, I just felt like my life was over. I found myself to the point where I was getting comfortable being incarcerated, that I was actually afraid to leave because I knew I had to face responsibilities and people I hurt out on the street. So I almost didn't want to leave jail. But when I did, I got out, I went through another program, and I got an apartment again for a few years. And around this time, I think I had gotten some sobriety time, maybe a year here and there. But I would always go back to the alcohol and the drugs because that's what gave me comfort. So I was hooked on the Percocet for maybe a year, and then, like everybody else, I ended up getting into heroin. So the heroin phase lasted maybe 9 months to a year as well. And heroin brings you to your knees really fast. So eventually I had to go off the treatment for a little while. And it was life-changing for me. And I eventually got out of treatment and I went into college. I signed up to go to the university, and that was very life-changing as well. A few years into my college career, I needed to do an internship. So I called over to Good Sam and set up an interview, and we had a great interview process. I felt warm and welcomed right away. I read up on their program online of how they help these men and all the opportunities they provide, and I knew this is where I wanted to do my internship. Right at the end of my internship, as soon as it finished, COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I had to isolate. I lived by myself in a small apartment, and I'm an extremely extroverted person. I love being around people. And when all that was taken away, I went back to drinking for maybe a few weeks, and that led me into the drugs. So after 7 or 8 years of not touching heroin, I had some money saved up at the time. I was looking to start my own halfway house, and I ended up blowing all that money and just really making a mess out of my life. I just had a moment of clarity where I knew it was time to get help. So I went to a 28-day program, but I knew I was going to need more than that. I left that program after 28 days, and I didn't know where I was going to go. I had a 3-year-old son I had to take care of. I showed up here to Good Sam one day with a laundry bag full of clothes and a pillow, and I was very ashamed. I had a lot of guilt. And when I came in here, these guys just welcomed me with open arms, and they prayed for me and helped me carry my stuff down to the shelter. Who else, what other place is going to do that for you, where the CEO walks your dirty clothes down to the shelter, and things really got real for me there. It was very difficult for me emotionally, but I did feel freedom walking into these doors, and I was very grateful to be here. I was able to take advantage of a couple of the program's benefits, such as the micro loan. I had some bad debt. I had racked up some credit card debt. So I applied for the micro loan and was approved, and I was able to help clean up my credit a little bit. And you know, just the fact that the first 2 months you're in here, you don't have to pay rent, you know, and when you're working and saving money, it really helps you out. But they also, you know, they offer a GED program here. They have a mentorship program. There's just a lot of things that, you know, our donors help us with that allows us to get back online. And it doesn't matter if you come from the streets or if you have a college degree. There's something here for everybody who's, you know, experiencing homelessness and trying to make changes in their life. So, you know, it's allowed me to reach some of my goals. One is being I graduated college last spring. I received my bachelor's degree in social work and a minor in business. And I'm currently saving up to start my own halfway house. There's just a lot of good things that have happened to me since I've been here. My relationships with my family has gotten much better. I'm a great father. I'm a better brother, a better son, and most importantly, I'm a better servant of Christ. Somebody once told me a while back, every once in a while, sometimes you have to hit the reset button, right? And when we come in here and we have a micro loan and we have loans to buy cars and we have free groceries and things like that, it takes our mind off the burden of having to pay fines and save for a vehicle and you know, all the things that we're coming in here with. And I'm very grateful for this program, and it wouldn't be possible without, you know, people like you helping us. So I want to thank you from my heart.